You're listening to the Telltale Channel. If you like what I do and you want to see me continue to do it, don't forget to check out my Patreon. I just finished writing a book titled Was Hitler an Atheist? It talks about religions during the Third Reich and how they work together. Catholics, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Protestants. And I even address the lies told by the evangelical world about Bonhoeffer. It's on Audible and Amazon. Okay, I found this episode of Parker Get a Job. I don't know if you've heard of him. He debates people. I found this episode of him talking to a QAnoner, a full-blown QAnoner. It was kind of interesting. I just want to listen to it.
Why do you support Donald Trump?
Because I knew he was going to change the world.
So this episode is from January 7th, before the Iran war.
Okay. In what way did he change the world that you think is beneficial?
Well, I mean, the war on trafficking that we're currently under, I think he's making, crazy strides with that, finding 130,000 missing children.
Hold on one second, just letting you know. You can't see any DRUG names just in specific. It's TikTok TOS. It will make me have to go on to the next person, just letting you know. But keep going.
Found 130,000 children. That's a lie. Is that what he said? 130,000? I think so. There's this absurd claim from QAnon that there were 300,000 missing children. That's not true. It was completely made up. I think it was the total number of missing persons reports in the United States for some period of time. But upon investigating, it turns out that the vast majority of those kids were actually found immediately. The mom is at Claire's picking out earrings, and little Johnny sees a Baskin Robbins across the way, walks over, climbs in the ice cream tub, and starts eating away. She calls the cops because she wasn't paying attention to her kid. The cops show up. They find him eating ice cream in the thing, and they say, "Oh, there he is. Now let's all go home." They write a report, and that counts toward one of the missing children that QAnon claims is missing when they're not. I think 80% of the children who were missing, quote unquote, were teen runaways who were found but didn't want to go back and were just left alone. Donald Trump's White House claims to have found 130 to 145,000. I mean, it was just absurd nonsense. It's all lies, but let's keep listening here.
Oh, yeah. He's lowered the schmurder rate 20% since last year.
Schmurder? No, he hasn't.
How do I say it? D-rug overdoses are down exponentially.
I don't think you can say overdose either, but okay. No, none of this is true.
Yeah, I mean, he's just doing great things.
Okay.
I mean, you think so, right?
You said
things, right? I mean,
you said he lowered the murder rate. What did he do to lower the murder rate by 20%?
Probably well, I mean, with all of the how do I say it? Trafficking busts that have been happening, a lot of criminals have been taking it off the streets. You can...
As if, Biden wasn't trying to get drugs off the street or whatever, please.
Go to Google News and just type in...
You know that was happening under the Biden-Harris administration, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, I don't see the Biden administration as a legitimate administration, honestly.
Why not?
Because I don't believe he was ever truly the president of the United States. I believe he was president of the corporation, but I don't believe he was president of the United States.
Oh, the corporation. I saw this forever ago, but I don't remember much about it. So the conspiracy theory is that after the Civil War, when the country joined back together, it didn't rejoin into the United States government. It rejoined into the corporation of the United States. And we haven't had a real U.S. president for the U.S. government since before the Civil War. Lincoln was the last one elected, and then Ulysses S. Grant was the last actual president. It's all nonsense. It's all fabricated garbage. So he sounds like a sovereign citizen, QAnon or nutcase. It's a very popular conspiracy theory in QAnon. And Donald Trump was secretly inaugurated on March 5th of 2021 because Inauguration Day was changed in the Constitution after the Civil War. And all constitutional changes are null and void since, that was fake or whatever, since the since the corporation of the United States is the one that made them. It's all complete trash. But okay, let's keep going.
President of the corporation. What do you mean by that?
Well, by the Organic Act of 1878 shows us that we went back under the British Crown and became basically a corporation run by them. And Donald Trump, I believe, is getting us out of that agreement. Well, I know he's getting us out of that agreement. But
wow, the confidence of these fucking nutcases, dude.
Really? So is he currently the controlling factor in our system right now? You said he's getting us out of some sort of system. Like, well, it's really when did the system begin, and when did it? And you're saying it's about to end soon. Why hasn't it already ended soon?
Well, it probably has, but I mean, we have to get this
probably has
incrementally. Well, I mean,
how do you know?
As far as it gets to the public, it has to be incremental. You know, they have to give this.
So on paper, officially, Trump was inaugurated on March 4th secretly, but not to the public. He has to come out to the public. I mean, March 4th, 2021. This is a prophecy from QAnon Trump supporters. March 4th, 2021, they claimed that Biden was not really the president and that Trump was being inaugurated secretly in a bunker by the military. This is Kat Kerr, a QAnon prophet or whatever.
Right now, I declare and I call forth our president to take his rightful place, Trump, to come forth right now, step into your destiny that God gave you, called you, appointed you, and anointed you for this time to declare over America, to help America. This is his choice, and we call you forth right now in the name of Jesus Christ, who is with you, who will always be with you. The people are with you. The prophets of God are with you. The military is with you. So come forth, step into your destiny now,
saith the Lord. Anyway, this was a really, really popular quote-unquote prophecy from a while back from Robin Bullock and a bunch of other nutcases like this. Anyway, let's keep listening.
To us so we can digest it. You know what I mean?
So was Trump the president of the corporation, according to their beliefs? Yes. I believe he was president of the corporation temporarily until he can correct it and dissolve the corporation and become official president of the official U.S. Yeah.
That's why we're learning all these good things under Donald Trump's presidency, such as, you know, the reconstitution of Article 1, Article 2, and Article 3 of the Constitution. We're kind of being taught this lesson. But right now, I mean, before a lot of people had kind of went over their heads, but now we're seeing it with Article 3, with all the fighting within the court systems and everything. This is all for a reason. It's to teach us how this country really works.
It's all for a reason. You see, all of this fighting in the courts is teaching people. This is fucking insane. These people need help. No joke.
Okay. All right. So I'm guessing you believe that there are all these like powers that are like essentially manufacturing this to happen?
I believe it's the military, yeah. And
the military is manufacturing this to happen?
Yeah, but I mean, you have to understand where I'm coming from. I believe that Donald Trump was chosen for this. I don't believe
by who?
He just decided by the United States military.
By the United States military?
That's what I believe, yes.
Okay, how do you know that?
Well, I mean,
they're the only organization that would have the power to do such a thing. There's no way it could work through any other mechanism.
It's just kind of funny. I mean, I'd have to go into some really crazy details.
Please, detail.
You know, to kind of
go ahead.
Show, but where do I start?
Dude, he pulled out his book. He's got his little book. It says "Trust Me, Bro" on it.
Man. Donald Trump, I believe, was I mean, in actual proof, you have to read between the lines on that situation. You know what I mean? But I believe that Donald Trump at some time was approached because they knew that he could probably win an election fairly because he was already a popular person, had a great following. And I can say this. I can tell you this. We know that in 2017, the military was probably going to run a coup against Barack Obama, but they decided not. I mean, I'm sorry, 2012, they were going to run a coup against Barack Obama.
This is absolutely fucking psychotic. This is unglued from reality, seriously. to think that the military was planning on running a coup against Obama with absolutely no basis in fact, no reason to believe this whatsoever. What an absolutely wild thing to say.
But they decided not to. They went to plan B because they didn't want it to seem like a racist thing going after a black guy, because everybody believed.
They're literally going to coup the U.S. government and change the foundation of the, like, completely erase parts of the Constitution by force. And you think that they chose not to because they're worried about looking like they're racist? That is fucking wild.
That Obama was.
Where did you hear this story? Did you hear this story on like 4chan somewhere, and then like now you believe it?
No.
Where did you get this information?
It was from Dr. Jerome Corsi, a person that I listened to years ago. It was in 2017 that he made the statement. It's actually on my TikTok. I just found it recently.
Wait, what was it again? One more time?
It was from Dr. Jerome Corsi, a person that I listened to years ago. It was in 2017 that he made the statement. It's actually on my TikTok. I just found it recently, and it's, if anybody wants to look at it, you can find it on my TikTok. But and he actually had a place in.
Is the source just like a claim?
Well, I mean, I doubt that you're ever going to truly find
that's not evidence.
At least at this point.
Someone just claimed something and that's it?
Well, it was a pretty prominent person saying this at this time. This was 2017, by the way.
Okay, yeah, this is a well-known sovereign citizen / QAnon crossover conspiracy theory. This theory holds the U.S. is secretly a corporation. Specifically, the Act of 1871 turned the U.S. into a corporation registered in Washington, D.C., meaning the real constitutional republic was secretly replaced. Therefore, every president since then has just been a CEO of a corporation, not a real head of state. The courts are admiralty courts. Your legal name in all caps on documents means you're a corporate entity, etc. Jerome Corsi's role. Corsi is a longtime right-wing grifter. He pushed the Obama birther conspiracy, wrote Unfit for Command against John Kerry's war record, and was a prominent early QAnon promoter and decoder. He's essentially a professional conspiracy launderer who gives fringe theories a veneer of researched credibility by writing books about them. He's been plugged into the corporation / Act of 1871 angle for years. Here's the QAnon twist. In the QAnon version, Trump is supposedly secretly restoring the original republic, the constitutional government, by dismantling the corporate fiction. Some variants claim Trump's 2020 loss was actually fine because Biden is just president of the fake corporation while Trump remains the real president of the restored republic. It's a conspiracy theory that conveniently explains away Trump's failure or loss. That is very fascinating. Corsi is essentially a bridge figure who made this stuff palatable to mainstream MAGA in 2017. Wow. Never heard of him before. I'll have to look him up.
You got to understand, this was.
Do you think most prominent people would agree with that?
At this point in time, I would think that if they wanted people to take them seriously, they would.
If you want to be taken seriously, you have to believe Trump is the president of the real U.S. and not the corporation. What?
Wait, so then that's not an answer to the question. Would you like to directly answer the question?
Does everybody think it's pure coincidence that Donald Trump left and then came back from basically like oblivion? Right?
Pure coincidence. He came back from oblivion?
Right? Donald Trump was gone, but now he's back.
And no, he wasn't gone as in like fucking dead. What are you talking about? He lost an election, stayed involved in politics the whole time, and then won an election again. What? Yeah, he was in a pocket dimension for a while. Stuck in neutral, says. That makes complete sense.
I mean, I understand.
What is that? Do you think that Trump died?
No, definitely not. He would just, that's the thing. I mean, I believe it was in somewhere in 2015 that the roles were separated between president and vice president. I'm sorry, commander in chief and the president. I believe it was done under with Obama, something that with the, oh man.
I have a question. Do you think that Biden has been executed?
Something.
I have a question. Do you think that Joe Biden has been executed?
What Trump said.
Trump said Biden has been executed? I'm just trying to find some info here. The theory goes roughly like this. Biden and various other deep state figures, Hillary, Obama, etc., were secretly tried by military tribunal at Guantanamo, found guilty of treason/crimes against children, executed and replaced by body doubles, clones, or CGI. The Biden people saw 4 years. The Biden people saw for 4 years was supposedly an actor in a mask or a digital composite. Wow. Okay, then.
By the way, guys, check out my new shop, owenmorgan.com/shop. I have a bunch of really cool designs on there.
You believe he has? You believe Joe Biden has been executed?
Yeah, I don't believe he was ever president.
Jesus Christ, dude. It is not often you find somebody this far gone.
You think he was executed in 2017?
No, no, before then. It was, no.
Before then. So Biden's been executed since 2017, earlier than 2017?
I personally believe a lot of these people have already been going. There's a lot of anomalies within. I mean, Biden never looked the same twice. You know what I mean?
He didn't?
I mean, and Kamala Harris, her neck, very weird thing going on for her.
So you think that
her neck had a very weird thing going on? What?
Kamala Harris is fake and she died already. Same thing with Joe Biden. They're all fake.
No, I haven't heard anybody else being executed except for Joe Biden because our president told us so. But I mean,
dude, you're literally just believing in conspiracy bull. I'm serious, like genuinely. Like
to call
listen,
the president a conspiracy theory.
To call the president a conspiracy theory, brother. No one is saying the president is a conspiracy theory. You literally think that Biden was executed before 2017. What the fuck is wrong with you?
No, I mean, yeah, the president is a conspiracy theorist. Our president denies basic science. He thinks that he's smarter than the 99% of climate scientists that indicate that climate change is real. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think the earth is flat as well?
Yeah.
Oh, please tell me the earth is flat.
Do you think the earth is flat?
No, I don't.
Okay, why not? Because you believe in science?
No, I actually believe that the earth is round like we've been taught, but I believe it's hollow. I believe in that whole situation. But
oh boy,
that's a whole nother story.
I believe that's a David Icke claim. He's also a very, very famous conspiracy theorist. I don't think he came up with the lizard people conspiracy, but he certainly popularized it. Claimed that lizard people are running the government and that they're secretly Jews and blah, 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 blah. You know, all that. That was David Icke.
I mean, it's not like you crack it and like an egg hollow. It's not that type of hollow, but I believe.
Then what kind of hollow?
That there are things underneath our earth that they. I honestly believe flat earth is to cover up the whole hollow earth thing, but whatever. That's just me.
A conspiracy to hide the real conspiracy. I love everything about it.
I know, bro. This is crazy.
Damn it, man. It's just like you just decide to believe in every conspiracy, bro. Hey, dude, it's like, you know, you're like, what theory would be the least likely to explain this? And you're like, let me pick that one. You know, your method of determination of what's true in terms of the world around you is what is the least likely thing that could possibly explain what just happened?
Listen,
you think the moon landing is fake too?
People in 2021, when I was telling people in 2021 that don't worry, Trump's coming back, everybody thought I was crazy then too. Trust me, bro.
Of course. Now, can I ask you a question? Do you think the moon landing was fake?
What we saw on television, I do, but I don't believe.
Oh my God, dude! Please.
That we didn't land on the moon.
Do you think during that year we did?
Possibly, or before. Whatever they showed us was.
Or before.
What? They didn't want anybody to be able to you know, what's the term when you backwards reverse what is it? You know it. Reverse design. They didn't want anybody to get whatever tech we had. That's why they didn't show us the real plan. I mean, it's very easy, but I don't believe we didn't go there.
Okay, so they didn't want to show the technology, and that's why you.
So I assume he's talking about reverse engineering. He didn't want anyone, or I'm sorry, we as Americans didn't want anyone to reverse engineer our technology. So we went to the moon long before we actually showed it. And then we staged going to the moon or something. Oh my God, dude. You got to lay off whatever it is you're smoking and then give me some.
You think that they created it in a movie theater?
Exactly.
They created the moon landing in a movie theater. Great.
I mean, one, there's no evidence of that, and we left stuff on the moon that you can test today. Like we left like
we know that Joe Biden was never in the White House. We know that.
We do? Yeah. Parker was talking about little mirrors that we put up there because the Soviets were, you know, in the space race with us, and we wanted to be able to prove unequivocally and beyond question that we did, in fact, go to the moon. So we put mirrors on the moon, strong or large enough that we could shine a very powerful laser at them and get a reading back. And we did. You can do that today. Like, there are stations in the United States you can go to and shine the laser and look at the readings.
We know this. So they even admitted to us that they had him on a sound
Joe Biden's
station.
not currently in the White House because of the fact that he's not president, okay? Joe Biden was in the White House. Dude, you think Joe Biden's been dead since earlier than 2017, so what are you talking about? You don't even think Joe Biden ran for president.
2024. I believe he was installed. We've done this in World War II. This is a World War II thing. It was the, oh man, what was that? Taiwan?
He was installed. You mean by the voter base because he won the election?
No, we put a president in exile, and then but he had full control of his military still. Well, this is a World War II tactic. It's just
you think Donald Trump was in exile and had full control of the military?
Yeah.
You think he was actually president during the Biden administration?
I believe he was the commander in chief, not the.
Okay, so Trump was the commander in chief, and he kept the border open.
Okay, this is another garbled pseudo-historical claim. He says we put a president in exile, a World War II practice. The real historical practice. During World War II, several legitimate governments whose countries had been conquered by Nazi Germany set up governments in exile, usually in London. These included Poland, France, de Gaulle's Free France, Norway, Belgium, the Netherlands, Czechoslovakia, etc. These were recognized by Allied powers as the legitimate governments of occupied nations, maintained diplomatic status, and in some cases commanded real military forces. What they're doing with it, they're borrowing that framework to legitimize the claim that Trump is the real president, operating in exile while a foreign illegitimate power, the deep state, the corporation, Biden Democrats, occupies the country. It reframes the 2020 election loss not as a democratic outcome, but as foreign occupation, which conveniently makes Trump's refusal to accept the results not a coup attempt, but an act of resistance. Here's why it's historically illiterate. The World War II government in exile thing were real governments displaced by literal military conquest and foreign occupation. They had international recognition, legal continuity, and actual armies. Trump lost an election, left the White House, and went to Mar-a-Lago. There's no equivalence here.
Chief, not the.
Okay, so Trump was the commander in chief, and he kept the border open.
Well, if you believe that.
What?
Yeah, the border was open, bro. He kept the border open. He kept the border open, and he was the commander in chief, and he didn't prevent that from happening. What?
This is what they show us on television doesn't mean. I mean, we're under.
Wait, so the border was closed from 2021 to 2025, is what you're saying? Then the point here is that the guy was unhappy with what happened in 2021 to 2025, right? Obviously, he was not happy with it because Donald Trump was not openly the president. The things that Biden publicly did, the people that he publicly pardoned, and the laws that he publicly signed, this guy did not like them, obviously. He's a Trump supporter. So what was happening? How can he say that Trump was in control when Biden was publicly doing things as president that had real-world effects?
From military occupation. So if you understand that, you can understand that the military has full control of all media. All media.
So all media. So do they control me? Because I'm media as well.
You're not. Are you a media? I mean, do you have a media corporation? Are you associated with a media corporation?
It's a company. Yes, everybody that makes money in the United States over $600 a year has to be a registered company.
This is media. Is this not social media? Is it media?
No, it's social media. It doesn't count. Anybody can just go on.
It just doesn't count. Okay.
Yeah, you're not part of a conglomerate that can be controlled and can be told what to do.
Okay, so then why did they let that exist?
Citizen.
You said they controlled all media, so now they don't control all media. Interesting.
No, I believe they control all media that is considered media. Social media is not considered media. Not.
It's not.
Not to the legacy
social
media.
It's literally in the fucking name.
Media is not considered media.
About people that actually make money on this.
What?
In a sense where they get a paycheck and they.
I get a paycheck from this.
It's not the same thing, bro.
Okay, God, he's acting like Parker's the idiot here.
I understand that you're going to run with that, but it's not. You know, it's not.
It's just I control the business. I do have a company. Yes.
What is your LLC?
I'm not going to tell you my name of my company, but I do have a company. That's for tax purposes. That's how it's set up.
Okay.
And of course, being a QAnon sovereign citizen type of person, he doesn't believe that taxes are real either, right? Ken Tovind is the same way, believe it or not. He didn't pay taxes for 30 years because he believed that your name, if it's written in all caps on a document, is representing you as the corporation, not you as the individual, and all this other shit, and you're not obligated to pay taxes or some shit.
This is a business, essentially.
That's fine. Well, I mean, I'm not convinced that you guys aren't given talking points and being put on TikTok, you know.
Oh my God.
I'm being given talking points. So what who's giving me my talking points?
You big guys on, I believe most people that are big on social media that run with this Democrat narrative or this liberal narrative.
The liberal narrative, they definitely must be bought. Who's giving me my talking points?
I'm just saying.
No,
I'm just saying what? Who's giving the talking points?
Asking who's giving me my talking points.
If that was true, then yes, you would be controlled because you are being given talking points.
Okay, so then who's giving me my talking points?
So maybe you don't know that you're controlled if you are really under a conglomerate or some type of media company.
So can you tell me who answer the question? By the way, I have full control over my business. It's my business. So I don't know what under company you're saying I'd be getting the talking points. You mean from myself? I'm getting talking points from myself? I'm the only owner of my business.
We're not getting anywhere with this, bro. You're not CNN. You're not Fox News. You're not MS.
So he thinks they're not real. Or, I'm sorry. So he thinks he's not connected to media again, I guess. Okay, got it.
NBC.
Of course.
NBC, you're not anything. So that's what we're specifically.
But you said all media was controlled. Social media is media, especially large
media. Yeah.
So do you think that Dean is controlled? You think Dean is controlled because he has so many viewers?
For media, then you are. Listen, this is all on documented. The military has full ability to do this under a military occupation.
This is documented?
I believe it's I'd have to look it up exactly what the term. It's either the law of war manual or I got a lot of information in my head. It's hard to remember every little detail, but yeah, I mean, we're watching this happen. We've seen the military, we've seen the National Guard, we're seeing local police.
He mentioned the Law of War Manual. It's a 1,200-page legal reference published by the Department of Defense, and that's real. That outlines how U.S. military forces are expected to conduct themselves under international laws of armed conflict. It covers things like treatment of prisoners, rules of engagement, occupied territories, war crimes, etc. It's basically the military's legal compliance handbook for armed conflict. Genuinely boring bureaucratic stuff, apparently. Here's what QAnon did with it, though. Around 2020 to 2021, people in the QAnon sovereign citizen space started circulating readings of the manual, claiming it contained secret provisions that explained how Trump would retake power. The specific claims included the U.S. was secretly under belligerent occupation provisions, meaning military law superseded civilian government, that certain sections about occupied territories applied to the U.S. itself, that Trump, as commander-in-chief, had secretly invoked wartime powers that would allow military tribunals to try and execute civilian politicians, and that the manual justified a military coup to restore the legitimate government. The QAnon pipeline, it got heavily promoted by figures like Corsi, who he mentioned earlier, Juan O'Savin, a mysterious QAnon figure, and various Telegram channels as the legal framework underpinning the whole military is in control, Biden is a puppet thing. Here's why it's nonsense. The manual explicitly applies to foreign armed conflicts. None of its occupied territory provisions have any mechanism or precedent for application to domestic U.S. politics. The people promoting these readings were either deliberately misreading it or had genuinely no legal literacy whatsoever, taking real legal language out of context and retrofitting it onto their pre-existing conclusions. So it was just all nonsense all the way down. I just created a new website, firesidewatch.com. You can watch videos with friends, and everybody can play or pause the video. I made it so I could collaborate with other YouTubers, but I figured I might as well make it available to everybody. On top of that, you can add videos to the queue, upvote them, and sort by most upvoted. Give it a look, firesidewatch.com. And while you're at it, check out my Patreon, owenmorgan.com/Patreon. You can follow me there for free.
All working in conjunction, where this is a military occupation that we're under. That was an optic. That was the visual, for the most part. And a lot of this whole Venezuelan thing is crazy too, because this is a part of Donald Trump's first administration policy on how to deal with Venezuela. This guy had 6 years. And then you have to ask, why didn't Joe Biden stop it? He could have stopped what Donald Trump put in place for Venezuela. He could have stopped everything.
What the fuck is he talking about? He could have stopped what?
Why did Joe... Bro, I could keep going, bro.
Please keep going.
Listen, Joe Biden is
I don't know how Joe Biden would have stopped that right now. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Dude, Joe Biden was... Dude, okay, let me read this.
Like, that literally makes no sense. Joe Biden could have stopped what happened in 2026? Really, dude? Wow, dude.
26. No, listen, in Southcom Enhanced Counter Narcotics Operations on April 1st, 2020. That's what Donald Trump put in place. That is what he is acting on. Okay, that's what.
That doesn't mean that Biden kept that in place. He could just be reenacting
He did. Then why didn't he stop it somehow? Why didn't?
And also, by the way, that doesn't refer to all of the conditions that Trump is engaged in terms of Venezuela. And also
Okay, the Southcom thing he just mentioned, I just Googled that. Southcom, Southcom. April 1st, 2020, Trump announced enhanced counter-narcotics efforts in the Southcom area of responsibility, coming days after AG Bill Barr announced unsealed charges of narco-terrorism and drug trafficking against the Maduro regime in Venezuela. It was described as one of the largest U.S. military operations in the region since 1989 Panama invasion, with a 65% increase in ships and 75% increase in surveillance aircraft. It was a real operation, not secret, not coded, a publicly announced counter-terrorism operation. And here's how QAnon spun it. The conspiracy ecosystem took this real operation and reframed it as Trump secretly using military assets not to fight drug cartels, but to arrest and execute the deep state, that the narcotics operation was cover for military tribunals, mass arrests of Democrats, the whole Q thing. The Law of War Manual ties in here too, apparently. They claimed the Southcom deployment activated special wartime legal authorities that justified trying civilians before military courts. Okay? Apparently, Hegseth, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, reportedly ordered operators to kill everybody aboard an alleged drug boat in the Caribbean in late 2025, with reports that an initial strike left 2 survivors and a follow-up strike was ordered to comply with Hegseth's order to leave no survivors. The Trump administration has killed at least 80 alleged drug traffickers, this is from The Hill, by the way, in recent months, and claims the U.S. is in an armed conflict with drug cartels without publicly providing evidence of an imminent threat to Americans. So there you go.
In terms of responding to those types of substances, right? Joe Biden, of course, did do that and did have an intention to address it, right?
Okay,
I'm
so
confused.
either it's one of two things: he was helping Donald Trump out, or he planned.
Listen. That doesn't necessarily mean that the policy was through that, but it being through that could have been like one of the things that's true. I'm not even familiar with what you're particularly referencing.
It's in there too. Executive Order 13818. He could have stopped that. He extended it for Trump. He extended Executive Order 13848, Executive Order 13912, Executive Order 13919. All these things Donald Trump is using right now.
Okay, this is signed Executive Order 13818, signed December 20th, 2017, blocks the property of persons involved in serious human rights abuse or corruption. Trump declared a national emergency with respect to human rights abuse and corruption having their source outside the U.S. It's essentially an expanded sanctions tool. And here's what QAnon did with it. This executive order became one of the most heavily mythologized documents in the entire Q universe. The National Emergency Declaration was actually Trump secretly activating wartime powers to arrest the deep state. The property seizure language meant Trump had already secretly seized the assets of Hillary Clinton, Obama, George Soros, and others. The annex listing foreign human rights abusers was supposedly just the public-facing cover. The real sealed annex contained thousands of American politicians and celebrities. It was used to justify the sealed indictments mythology. At one point, QAnon promoters claimed there were over 150,000 sealed federal indictments waiting to be unsealed as part of the mass arrest event, okay? And here's the tell as it describes it, the American Presidency Project. Section 13 of the actual order explicitly states it is not intended to and does not create any right or benefit, substantive or procedural, enforceable at law or in equity by any party against the U.S. The order itself contains language directly contradicting the idea that it creates any special enforcement mechanism, but that detail never made it into the QAnon readings of it. Surprised?
Now, right now, all these powers.
Yeah, I understand, but that doesn't mean. Wait, hold up. Hold up, listen. You overwrite other executive orders with new executive orders, so Trump is just trying to bring in a new executive order and utilize that again, right? Whereas other presidents didn't utilize it.
It's
I
the
understand.
same ones.
I
They've
understand.
been extended. They're still active.
Yeah, I don't
Joe
think that.
Biden did
Wait,
that.
can you show me where Biden did that?
Well, I mean, you can look through the literature and see. Dude, executive orders only last a couple years, and then they.
No. Executive orders are basically just instructions for how the executive branch is supposed to operate. Like, if he writes an executive order about how we prosecute, drug traffickers or like human traffickers or whatever, the Department of Justice is responsible for carrying out the president's wishes. They're not laws by any stretch of the imagination. Executive orders are just direction for executive branch agencies. They don't disappear or go out of use or whatever the fuck he's talking about. It's just completely fabricated garbage.
They fizzle out on their own, or unless somebody extends it, or if they just stop it.
So give me a source that indicates that he did.
I gave you the executive orders. If you understand that most of these things are still active, then how could they not have been?
Okay, you're just not answering the question.
We have executive orders from the 1960s still about how you can't discriminate against people, for example.
Would you like to provide a source, or is that impossible for you?
If you go to the Federal Register, you can see the executive orders themselves, and you can see the national emergencies that are tied to them. Executive Order 13818 has war and national defense tied to it. That was in 2017, still active.
Dude, this is reaching deep in the QAnon mythology.
I see here in 2024, there's something saying that they continued specifically the 13818, right? I see that point.
That's the one I read a minute ago.
Yeah.
Now this is specifically
it had to be extended after Biden because they only
listen. They said that the prevalence of the severity of human rights abuse and corruption that have their source in whole or in substantial in part outside of the United States continue to pose an unusual and extraordinary threat to the national security, foreign policy, and economy of the United States. So it's just claiming in a national emergency. This isn't necessarily saying that they're going to go into Venezuela, by the way. It's not even the claim.
It's the beginning of it. If you look at what I just sent you, the article, it's a .mil article, straight from military.
Don't even just tell me the title, and I can look it up. I don't know where you sent me that.
Jesus Christ, dude, this is insane. These people are fucking lost. Their brains are just shut to shit. Tell me what you think about it in the comments. I'm so entertained by it, though. I mean, it's sad, but I love understanding what is going through their head and how they got to where they are. Yeah, tell me your thoughts.
We'll be right back. Don't forget to check out my Patreon. Also, take a look at my website, owenmorgan.com.
I just finished writing a book titled Was Hitler an Atheist? It talks about religions during the Third Reich and how they work together. Catholics, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Protestants. And I even address the lies told by the evangelical world about Bonhoeffer. It's on Audible and Amazon. As Christians, these people, Michelle Bachmann and others, should be opposed to war, right? But bizarrely, Michelle Bachmann, Lance Wallnau, and all these other Trump Republicans, these Trump Christians, Christian nationalists, are all in for Donald Trump and for the war in Iran. Listen to what they have to say here. This is Michelle Bachmann, famously, I believe, one of the founding members of the Tea Party back, 15, 20 years ago, whenever it was. God, that was a long time ago. Listen to what she had to say here.
And so I commend Donald Trump. I commend Benjamin Netanyahu. I truly believe, Greg, maybe we can talk about that a little later, but I truly believe that God ordained these two men to be the leaders of those nations at this exact time for this exact purpose.
Talking about for the war in Iran. Holy shit, bro. What a psychotic thing to say. You know why they're saying this? Because they think that Iran, the war in Iran, is the start of Armageddon. No joke.
We've all been given an opportunity to bless Israel. If we bless Israel, like I believe President Trump is doing now, then we will be blessed. I truly believe America is going to be blessed from this effort. And likewise, if we turn our back on Israel and curse them, then we're cursed as a nation. And the Bible bears that out. Again, there's only one criterion upon which nations are judged. That's how nations treat Zion. So at this moment, we have to do everything we can to ensure that President Trump has a House and a Senate that will work with him to advance peace and prosperity in America by being pro-Israel. So that's why the primary is extremely important.
Right. It's the golden age, but it's not just America's golden age. It's actually the golden age for the world.
Bro, these people are fucking psychotic, dude. On that note, I figured I might as well just show you. I've got this new website that I set up, wavemap.us, that I'm using to try to predict what's going to happen in the primaries. And I'm using a lot of standard model stuff. So is the country going in the right direction? That poll result is the basis for a lot of statistical modeling around the US election. Generic ballot environment, presidential approval rating, consumer sentiment, how's the economy doing, incumbency advantage. I mean, I've got all these sliders here, and you can kind of mess around with them to see what results you get. Like if you drag Democratic mobilization multiplier back, we're right now in Texas, we're seeing primary votes doubling the number of Democrats voting. And if that stands true across the country, we're looking at 60 votes in the Senate. But if you just drag it back to roughly where the Republicans are sitting, it looks kind of like this. Anyway, you can look at House races. You can drill down and look at specific jurisdictions and districts and everything, the whole nine. So it's really, really cool. I'm really proud of this program that I've written. And you can check it out, wavemap.us. Anyway, sorry for that little aside. Listen to this next clip from Michelle Bachmann.
Many nations have nuclear weapons, but only Iran has the will and the state of objective that they will use it. And
no, they don't have nuclear weapons, and they didn't say that they would use them against people. And also, they're not the only ones who we should be living in fear might use nuclear weapons. You forget about North Korea, who actually has them?
Their public square in Tehran, they have a square that has the countdown clock that says this is how long it will be until we annihilate, until we kill every Jew with a nuclear bomb in Israel. They're blatant about it. They want everybody to know this is who they are.
No need to wonder. Just loaded up our question gun. Let's go answer hunting. Here's what's real about this. There is an actual countdown clock in Tehran's Palestine Square. This is from Haaretz, by the way, unveiled on Quds Day in June 2017 that counts down to the predicted destruction of the state of Israel. It was programmed to count down to 2040, the year Khamenei declared Israel would be destroyed because he's the religious leader or whatever. The clock is real, it's public, and it's genuinely alarming as a piece of state propaganda. However, her specific characterization saying that this is how long until we kill every Jew with a nuclear bomb, that's insane. This is a big problem. People failing to differentiate between Jews and Israel, Jews as people and the state of Israel. And also it says nothing about nukes.
Most people don't know that, but they're blatant about it because they're so filled with demonic rage.
Michelle Bachmann, they're filled with demonic rage, she says. The other guys are filled with demonic rage. Not this person, not me. The other people are filled with demonic rage. Okay. Yeah, a lot of people in the Middle East are filled with rage, without a doubt, because Israel has come in and wreaked absolute fucking havoc on everything, is literally committing a genocide in Gaza right now. Their leader, Netanyahu, is wanted by the International Criminal Court for war crimes. I believe for genocide, if I'm not mistaken. What a complete sack of shit. Iran's bad. I don't like Iran. I don't like the leadership in Iran, I mean, specifically. They're bad. Very, very bad. But don't try to twist this around and turn this into you're the victim, everyone else is the victim, and they're like the villain in this black and white ridiculous framing that you're laying down for us here.
Filled with satanic rage. these ayatollahs. You could only hate someone if Satan was living inside of you.
You can only hate someone if Satan's living inside you. That's an interesting one. I'm going to remember that quote, Michelle.
It's the only way it could be. And so that's why they need to be defeated. They need to go. This isn't just a spat between nations over a border, a little bit of land. That isn't it. This literally goes back to the Garden of Eden with Satan and Satan's hatred for God.
She's saying that this is the start of Armageddon. That's what she means when she says that. That is horrifying. There have been some really wild, bizarre takes from Trumpists on the right over the Iran war. Like, the Iran war was completely unprovoked and was being managed diplomatically through the Iran deal. We didn't have to do this. This is completely unnecessary. Who wants war? Nobody should want war. Nobody. But Donald Trump's little sycophants have come along and found justifications for it. It is psychotic.
By the way, guys, check out my new shop, owenmorgan.com/shop. I have a bunch of really cool designs on there.
This is Eric Metaxas, pretends to be a World War II scholar when he's actually a fraud, completely rejected by the scholarly community because he got very basic things wrong in his book about World War II, like claiming that Hitler won his election. That's false. He didn't. But anyway, that's beside the point. Listen to what Eric Metaxas had to say here.
When something like this happens, the first thing that I think of is I trust President Trump. Okay? I don't worship President Trump. I trust President Trump.
Could have fooled me. You don't worship him? Okay, go on.
Because he has now, over a decade, proved to me that he is someone I can trust. This doesn't mean that he's going to get everything right.
Okay, how many women has he taken advantage of? I mean, I just did a recent episode about Donald Trump taking advantage of Jeffrey Epstein survivor known as Jane Doe 4. He took advantage of Katie Johnson, as far as we can tell. Those are just the minors. How many assault allegations does he have against him from adults? Found civilly liable of forcefully taking advantage of E. Jean Carroll? The list goes on. You trust this guy? Is there anything between those ears other than air?
That he is someone I can trust. This doesn't mean that he's going to get everything right. But I'm always amazed at how quickly people second guess and they act like, well, they've got more secret information than the president of the United States. And if the president of the United States was a jughead like Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or a feckless, awful person like Barack Obama, that's another story. Then you have no idea what they're thinking, what they're doing, and you can assume the worst most of the time.
Okay, you see what he just did here, right? You can see that he created an excuse for distrusting one president, but for trusting another one completely blindly. He says, we don't know what information he has. We have no right to question him. But we do have a right to question the other presidents that I don't like. What a fucking joke, dude.
But with President Trump, I think when you don't know quite what to think, you can trust him. You elected him. We elected him.
And by the way, he said jughead. That's interesting. I wonder why he chose jughead instead of noodle, dumbbell, an egg. That guy's a real egg. Or a bunk or a hooey. I mean, I just looked up insults from the 1920s. Horse feathers. Applesauce. Sick of this. Baloney. What a jughead. Anyway, he's not the only one. He and Michelle Bachmann are not the only ones that are out of their fucking minds and all in for death and destruction of innocent people. This is Lance Wallnau, a Christian Zionist, Christian nationalist, extremist nutcase who knows Trump, who has prayed with Trump and all of it.
I believe, and I got the news in a pretty good source, Donald Trump was really trying to offer an olive branch to them before this happened.
He didn't need to do that. We had the Iran deal, which guaranteed that they would not reach nuclear proliferation, and they were abiding by it flawlessly. Why would Donald Trump have to be up in there anywhere at all?
Trying to offer an olive branch to them before this happened. He wanted the denuclearizing, uncompromising, and he wanted there to be a different policy regarding the protests and the people, the right of the people to not be harassed.
For the record, Trump said that he had been planning this for months, so this is just a made-up lie.
And I think, if I want to be theological about it, I think the same way that God hardened Pharaoh's heart, God made the Iranians just recalcitrant. They refused to budge. And when Trump saw that...
Are you fucking kidding me? What are you talking about? We had the Iran deal. We had a deal on paper that they were abiding by that would prevent them from reaching nuclear proliferation. And Donald Trump tore it up. You cannot tell me that they had hardened hearts. This is complete and total bullshit. And he knows that. He must know that.
They were not going to move and that there was no sense in delay. He went ahead and made the decision, as he always does. The Jewish people will be celebrating Purim this coming week. Isn't it interesting that the ancient stronghold of the Prince of Persia that sought to exterminate all the Jews is now coming down again under the authority of another modern day ruler who the prayers of God's people have been empowering, so that during their Feast of Purim, when they had a reversal of a destructive threat, we're watching that reversal happen again in our days. So things are happening right in alignment with actual feast days. By the way,
what is he even talking about? He said that the Persians were in opposition to the Jews? No, they weren't. All that time ago, Cyrus the Great from Persia freed the Jews from captivity. Famously, it's probably the most famous moment in the entire Bible regarding Persia. He freed the Jews from captivity in Babylon. I don't know what he's going on about right now. This is nonsense.
I just created a new website, firesidewatch.com. You can watch videos with friends, and everybody can play or pause the video. I made it so I could collaborate with other YouTubers, but I figured I might as well make it available to everybody. On top of that, you can add videos to the queue, upvote them, and sort by most upvoted. Give it a look, firesidewatch.com. And while you're at it, check out my Patreon, owenmorgan.com/Patreon. You can follow me there for free.
Hamas attacked Israel on the October 11th was the first day of the Feast of Tabernacles.
October 7th, but okay.
There's always a feast day manifestation because Israel and the return of Jesus is back on the menu.
The return of Jesus is back on the menu. That should disturb the hell out of you. This is about sparking Armageddon. They are trying to spark Armageddon. These people are fucking broken inside. If you want to know what war costs, check this video out. The U.S. Navy's cost to fire different weapons. He literally, an MK-50 cal, just burned through $75 in 4 seconds. Each shot costs $1,500 for this one. A 5-inch caliber Mark 45. This is an MK-38 25mm machine gun. What are we looking at? That one was probably, I mean, just in those few shots, it was $625. I'm not sure which one this one is. This is a CIWS 20mm. That was $6,700. 75 rounds a second. Now we're up to $13,500. Jesus Christ. RIM 116 surface-to-air missile, $900,000. This is an SM-3 anti-ballistic missile. $12 million for that one. Jesus fucking Christ, dude. War is so insanely expensive and pointless. I don't understand why. Anyway, tell us what you think about it in the comments. This is insane. These people are absolutely insane. They are broken inside.
By the way, guys, check out my new shop, owenmorgan.com/shop. I have a bunch of really cool designs on there. We'll be right back. Don't forget to check out my Patreon. Also, take a look at my website, owenmorgan.com. I just finished writing a book titled Was Hitler an Atheist? It talks about religions during the Third Reich and how they work together. Catholics, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Protestants. And I even address the lies told by the evangelical world about Bonhoeffer. It's on Audible and Amazon. This is Shane Vaughn, full-blown MAGA cultist, explaining why the war in Iran is actually a good thing.
You know, there was a man in the Bible by the name of King Saul.
Uh-huh.
And God saw that there was a group of people called the Amalekites.
Amalekites, yep.
That hated Israel. The Amalekites had one desire: to destroy Israel from under the sun.
Well, this is being conveyed to us through the lens of Israel from 3,000 years ago, but sure, I suppose. If you don't know the story, King Saul was in charge of Israel before King David, and he was coming after David. Saul was a bad guy generally in the Bible, like he's portrayed negatively, and he ran David out of Israel and into Judea, which was also occupied by Jews, but they were two different countries, kind of. Sumeria was the capital of Israel, where Samaritans came from. And Judea had Jerusalem as the capital, I believe. Anyway, he ran David out into Judea, where he built a band of merry men who would eventually come back to take the throne from Saul. Anyway, in that period, Saul and eventually David, who killed Saul and took the throne, and eventually, I believe, Solomon as well, ordered lots of genocides. They ordered the of the Amalekites, of the Hittites, of the Canaanites, and a bunch of other groups, because they wanted to control the entire region. That's the story. So Shane Vaughn is recounting to us a story of when Israel was ordered to genocide a group of people. Go on.
Desire to destroy Israel from under the sun. And God raised up King Saul and told Saul, I want you to preemptively strike the Amalekites. I want you to go in and kill every man, woman, boy, and girl. And I don't want you to explain it to Congress. I don't want you to explain it to anybody. I want you to do what needs to be done to preserve my people a little longer on the face of the earth. Now,
so he's openly encouraging genocide here. He's saying, I want to genocide Iran, right? That's the point of this analogy, isn't it? That I want a genocide.
Now, if King Saul was to do that today, the entire world would turn against him. But you see, when God is in something and a man doesn't care what the world thinks, he is obeying the dictates of God himself. When God raised up Donald Trump, Iran is to America what Amalek was to Israel. The same thing.
Says who? Is that in the Bible? Iran must be destroyed. Every man, woman, and child in the country should be murdered. Is that in the Bible? I don't remember seeing that. In the year 2026 or whatever? Is it in the Bible that Donald Trump should fight a group of people? This is why it's so incredibly important that we keep religion out of government. Because Steven Weinberg's line, with or without religion, good people can behave well and bad people can do evil. But for good people to do evil, that requires religion. Shane Vaughn is endorsing and calling for actual full-blown genocide. And he is not the only one. Greg Locke is calling for genocide as well. And here's the psychotic justification for him. He says in the Bible, the Canaanites were genocided. God ordered all Canaanites to be genocided. He said they must all be killed, wipe them all out, man, woman, child, and baby. And Greg Locke discovered recently that Lebanese people who live in Lebanon have 90% Canaanite DNA, which means Lebanon should be genocided by the United States and Israel. He wants to murder every man, woman, and child, and every baby, and every pregnant woman, everything. Every living thing in Lebanon should be murdered and replaced with Jews from Israel. That's what he's saying.
I whisper something. Right now, they possess much less land than God's actually given them. And there will come a day they'll own all of it. They'll get the parts of Lebanon. They'll get the parts of Iran. They'll get the parts of Syria. They'll get a little bit of Turkey. They will get all that God has promised them. Because when Joshua walked the land, God said, I'm telling you right now, everything you can walk and everything you can see, I'll give it to you. And let me just say this by way of some vision casting. If you can see far, God will take you far. And the Bible says that God established his covenant with these people. He remembered it forevermore unto the land of Canaan. He said, it's all yours. That promised land, it's all yours. Now, let me just say something. I shared this with my wife this morning. This is just a moment of clarity for our church. Okay, everybody say global vision.
Global vision.
One more time.
Global vision.
So this is an application. I'm not writing a book or building a theological premise on this, okay? But I find it interesting that in order to come into Canaan land, they had to conquer the Canaanites.
You mean genocide? Why aren't they using that word? Why do they keep using biblical language? Use the real word. They had to genocide the Canaanites. You know, the Canaanites were just another people group that like lived in the area at the time. They were just minding their own fucking business, living their lives.
By the way, guys, check out my new shop, owenmorgan.com/shop. I have a bunch of really cool designs on there.
Now, there is no official group today called the Canaanites. But I find it interesting. Did you know there is a group of people, there is a country that has 90% DNA connection to the Canaanites? You ready for it? It's Lebanon. The Lebanese people have 90% DNA connection to the Canaanite. And I read that this morning, and I came and I told my wife over a cup of coffee, and I'm going to cry about it right now. It may be just an application, but I said the Lord has sent us in to conquer.
The excitement over the prospect of genocide is just dark. I don't know what word to use other than dark. Like, what the f*** is happening right now in the United States, in the world? There is so much suffering in the world. It is wild. Unnecessary suffering. Literally crying over the prospect of genocide. Are you kidding me? I'm saying that word so much, I'm probably going to have to beep some of it out.
Coffee, and I'm going to cry about it right now. It may be just an application, but I said the Lord has sent us in to conquer these Lebanites, amen, for the gospel of Jesus Christ. Lebanon shall be ours. God moved us from Egypt to the promised land, church.
Wait, why is he saying us? Does he consider himself Jewish, or?
He moved us to the promised land.
Jesus Christ, dude. These people are broken inside. Like, I don't know how we got to the point where we are literally seeing people cheer for genocide in the United States now. That is absolutely insane. And then there's this little ditty from Shane Vaughn.
We would never be this defensive of Donald Trump if you would not have forced us into this cult mentality. Yeah, we would now fight for Donald Trump. Why? We believe in justice. And when we see a man that God's put his hand on being attacked night and day, you are forcing us to look like a cult. We're patient.
It's my fault. I'm forcing him to be a cult member.
And steadfast in our support of a single man. We are cult followers. Yes, we follow a man. Yes, we do. We drank the Kool-Aid and it's orange.
He's fucking vile, dude. All of these people are vile and evil, and Jesus fucking Christ. Literally calling for genocide. That's not, how do you one-up that? How do you beat that? That is fucking evil. That is the root of all fucking evil. And these people, like these MAGA extremists like Shane Vaughn, Greg Locke, and people like that, they need to be removed from power and never allowed anywhere near it ever again. Jesus Christ. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. These people are sick.
That's all I've got for you. If you like what I do and you want to see me continue to do it, don't forget to check me out on Patreon. I just finished writing a book titled Was Hitler an Atheist? It talks about religions during the Third Reich and how they work together. Catholics, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Protestants. And I even address the lies told by the evangelical world about Bonhoeffer. It's on Audible and Amazon. Okay, thanks for watching, guys.